Hey everybody, I'm JJ Johnson, and today we're just going to do a quick benchtop review on two Schrade knives, the SCH F40L and the SCH F40 or SCH F40, however you want to call it. This is just kind of a, like I said, just a quick benchtop review. I have played with these a little bit around the house. I have not had them out into the field yet. However, my overall impressions of them so far, and taking a look at them, doing some research, looking at other people's reviews, and just kind of having them in my hand and feeling the ergonomics and all that kind of stuff, is pretty positive. But these types of benchtop reviews really, I mean, I'm going to give you my opinions and impressions, but really it's more to talk about the specifications, how the knife's built, what its application is going to be, and that kind of stuff. And so that's primarily what we're going to focus on. So let me start by reading you guys just a quick, little short paragraph on the type of steel that it is, because I wasn't immediately familiar with the type of steel. So the steel, it's a full tang knife, and the steel is made of 420 J2 stainless steel. Now, I'm pretty familiar with 420 stainless steel. That's a low carbon stainless steel. The 420 J2 stainless steel has a little bit more carbon in it. But let me go ahead and read you this real quick. And I got this from it's a pocket guide to knives, a lexicon of blade steel, and it kind of goes down, and I'll put the link in the description below, and it kind of goes through all the different knife steels and how they're made, what they're good for, all that kind of stuff. So this says 420 J2 stainless steel has a little bit more carbon in it than the 420J. It's sometimes used in dive knives because of corrosion resistance. It's used in surgical instruments due to the ease of machining and corrosion resistance. And with the proper heat treating, it can achieve a Rockwell test of 56, which makes it comparable to the 420HC. It's often used in scissors. It's not a true tool steel, however, because it's because it's used in making certain surgical tools, some people will call it a tool steel when that's not actually the case. Okay, so that was kind of reading, half paraphrasing. So essentially, the application for these knives is going to be kind of a wide-ranging type of things. They're kind of billing the knife as a tactical type knife, and I think that's probably its strongest role is going to be in like an urban survival type thing, a tactical situation, emergency response, that kind of a setting. And the reason I say that is primarily twofold. One, it's got, well, threefold maybe. One, it's got really high corrosion resistance, so you can throw this in your vehicle and forget about it. You can leave it in your trunk, you can put it in your get home bag, you can put it in your urban survival kit, whatever you want to do, and leave it there, and you're going to come back and it's going to be totally fine. It also, as you notice, has some serrations on the knife, which is going to be really good for cutting seat belts or whatever the case may be, getting through strapping or rope or whatever. Then on the end, on the pommel, you've got a stainless steel pommel here with a lanyard hole in it, and it has kind of a sharp crushing point or breaking point that you could probably use for breaking glass and that kind of thing. Now the ergonomics is one of the things that I like best about this. The handle is a nylon filled handle with a TPE overmold, kind of a rubber overmold over it, and it's extremely comfortable. It's got just a slight palm swell in the middle, and then you've got some kind of rubberized jimping here on the front, back, and on both sides as well. So you can really get a good comfortable grip on it, and you can kind of put your thumb forward like that if you want. You can get up here if you need to, choke up on it. Gives you a lot of options, and it just feels really good in the hand, and it's not going to be slick at all. Even when wet, you're going to be able to grab this thing really nicely in pretty much any conditions. As far as some of the other stuff on the blade, it's a drop point blade. It does have a blood groove in it. It's your kind of your basic, I guess, like saber grind is what you would call it. Just a really nice design, and it's very well priced as well. These knives go for, on Amazon, you can pick them up for about $60, $62, something like that. And I think that's a pretty fair price for a well-designed knife. One of my favorite knives of all time that I've ever used in the past, 25 years of, being in the woods and all that kind of stuff, is a Spanish Muela Mirage, which is also 420 stainless steel. And so a lot of people give them a hard time. They say, oh, 420 sucks. It's got to be, high carbon steel and all that kind of stuff. And the bottom line is that's just not really accurate. You get a lot of benefits to a knife with a little bit lower Rockwell hardness rating like this. So, 56 is about the highest you're going to get out of it. What that means in practical purposes is that it's going to be a lot easier to sharpen. Now, it will dull down a little bit quicker as well, but you can sharpen it with pretty much anything. And luckily, the manufacturer, Schrade, actually sends it with a sharpener built into the sheath. So you've got a nice little sharpener back here that you would be able, to use to sharpen up the blade portion of it. Now the sheath itself is actually really well made. It's got a lot of different mounting options. If you wanted to, I think this is really one of probably a great bug out bag knife. Really, probably a perfect bug out bag knife, especially the SCH F40L, the one I'm holding, because it's 7 inches or longer. So you're going to be able to use it for doing split wood fires if you had to. But it's still going to have the agility to be able to do smaller cutting tasks if needed. But with this mounting system, or with the sheath that it has, you could mount it directly to the outside of the bag if you wanted to. You could, you could use the, as you can hear, it snaps in really well. You could use the Molly and Powell's webbing to strap it on to a load-bearing vest, or whatever the case may be there, your plate carrier if you wanted. It's got the snap on there as well. And so you just got a lot of mounting options. You can also mount it on your belt and just let it hang freely. Just a lot of different options there that are really going to work well. And it does have a 90-degree spine on it for those of you guys that like to spark a ferro rod with the spine. You know me, I just will do it anywhere. I'll do it on the blade. I think it actually works better. But so it's powder coated, and I think that the reasoning for the powder coating is really more for the tactical aspect of it, being billed as kind of a tactical knife to keep down the sheen and all that kind of stuff. In all reality, though, the steel is so corrosion resistant, it doesn't need to have the coating on it at all, I don't think. Now, one suggestion I would make to Schrade is that my preference is, since about 80% of people out there are right-handed, my preference would be for them to put the serrations on this side of the blade. And the reason for that is because if you do that, then, and very few knives ever are made that way, and I don't know why, but that's just the truth. If you put them on the opposite side, serrations will actually work really good for making very fine feather sticks and all that kind of stuff. The problem is almost all knives have them on the wrong side, and so you got to hold it left-handed to be able to get them to do it well. So, I would switch that around if it were me. That's just one little suggestion, but it's really not a big deal at all. The knife comes, fairly sharp out of the box. It cut paper and stuff like that fine. But the great thing about it having a more mild steel like this is you're going to be able to razor sharpen this thing to the point where, it'll split hairs. You'll be able to sharpen it up like nothing, like nobody's business, and it won't take a lot of effort. So that is, kind of a positive thing there as well. Let me go ahead and run over the other specifications on the blade and all that kind of stuff real quick for you here as well. Okay, so on the big one, the blade length is 7.86 inches, and the handle on it is 5.9 inches. So you've got an overall length of 13.76 inches. So it's a good full size knife. You know, I mean it's definitely a good size knife, and you're gonna have plenty of room. You know, you could split through a 3 or 4 inch log if you're doing a split wood fire and still have, you know, a couple inches left sticking out here. The weight on this is about 0.87 pounds. Now, I don't believe that that includes the sheath and all that, so you're probably, you know, a pound, pound and a half, you know, somewhere in there. As far as the specifications for the 40, let's see, blade length on it is 5.1 inches, and the handle length is also 5.9. So your overall length is 11 inches, and it comes in at 3/4 of a pound. So just a great little knife. It does have a couple of lanyard holes up here too. You know, if you wanted to strap it to anything or whatever the case may be, you could do that. I just, overall, it's really a pretty comfortable knife and a pretty multifunctional knife. You know, I think a really good application for this is like an urban survival kit or a bug out bag or something like that. You know, around $60, you're going to get a good strong knife. The blade thickness is around 5 millimeters, if I remember correctly, and I don't have a measuring device right here next to me, but it's about 5 millimeters thick on the blade there, which is definitely good and sturdy. I mean, you're going to get a lot of good lateral prying strength out of this knife, especially out of the shorter one. You know, the other one, longer one, obviously is going to be less so. But the good thing about a more mild steel like this, in a prying type situation, maybe getting a door open or something like that, is that it's not brittle. Okay, and so you may get some bending, but you can always bend it back and it won't break. You know, and that's the thing is, I mean, honestly, with a knife like this, I would be willing to bet you that you could probably bend it at about a 90-degree angle and still not have it break. You know, which is good, because if you can straighten a knife after it's bent and still use it, then it's still usable. Now, it may not be optimum, but it's still usable. But once it breaks, there's no going back. So, you know, that's something else to think about. The tip design on it is really nice. Like I said, it's a drop point. You do have kind of these edges off here to the side, which don't make it great for split wood fires, but it does make it good for, you know, digging and carving into wood and different things like that. But it's still a good thick tip, and I don't think there's going to be any issue with that, you know, in any kind of field work. But I will do a follow-up field test video on these as I have the chance to get out to the woods and, you know, actually put them to the test. I have full confidence that they're going to do very well. I've handled a lot of knives over the years, and I'm sure that these knives are going to do great. But anyhow, that has been just a real quick look at the Schrade SCH F40 and the Schrade SCH F40L. Again, I throw them into the kind of application of urban survival, tactical. You could use them for, you know, wilderness survival and stuff as well if you want. But with some of the features that they have, they're kind of going more towards that urban setting, I think. And I think they're going to definitely do well in that kind of environment. So anyway, guys, as always, I definitely appreciate it when you click the thumbs up button, when you share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. And don't forget to live the 6 Ps. Prior preparation prevents poor performance. Stay safe, guys.
One of my biggest time wasters is driving to and from work every day. I can't text, I can't email, it's boring, and it wastes my time. But I started using Audible, listening to audiobooks as I drive. Audible gave me back 2 hours per day, and I love it. Click the link in the description below to get 30 days free, plus a free audiobook from audible.com when you sign up for the service.